Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Land Your Ground, the video podcast for landowners and dreamers. And today you might notice a little bit of a change in scenery. We are not sitting in our usual studio. Today we're at a different site. This is a commercial building, actually, that my wife, Jackie, welcome back to the podcast. Glad to have you on again. It's fun to actually be under roof in this building, in this space that is something we've been thinking about, talking about, working on for quite a while. And so I'm eager to dive into it, but why do the people on our podcast care about this? And the answer is that the products, the things, your mission here with this store, the space that we're in right now, what you're going to be selling, bringing to the marketplace directly impacts and correlates to local landowners, right?
Correct, yes. And so our goal with this store is to be able to, for growers and local producers to be able to basically have a market that we can provide year-round for them to sell product in different avenues.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll get into what your different product categories are, what types of goods you're actually bringing here and selling. But this is a real estate investment for us. And that's we're always talking about helping people try to get into their first piece of land or how to maybe stepstone through one real estate investment into a bigger one and into, maybe eventually buy that homestead or the acreage and live out the country dream or just, buy more land for their livestock and all that fun stuff. But this for us is a little out of our normal wheelhouse.
yeah, commercial real estate is not something that we've ever delved into. And so it's an undertaking. So buying a
learning experience.
Yeah, buying a 130-year-old brick building in
a downtown area.
In a downtown area that's been vacant for about 40 years.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you some questions and just kind of let you explain to our audience what this whole building is, when and how you kind of came up with the vision for this, and why we landed here at this point. So again, super pumped to have you back on, and I've been excited about this coming for quite a while, just like you have, but we should note the space is not done yet. You guys are going to get the first preview of what this is. We won't officially have a grand opening here for a little bit longer, but we will have a soft opening, and we will be in just a few more days.
Yeah, so July 31st will be our opening day, and then we'll announce a grand opening after that. So our opening day is kind of going to be a soft opening. We don't have everything totally buttoned up yet. We don't have all of the product that we're excited about having all in store quite yet, but we're working towards that. And you might hear some
people actually working in the background.
Yeah, there's things going on. So
it is. That's the sound of progress, as Jordan said.
Yeah.
So let's back up and let's tell everybody what this is that we've dubbed Prairie Crossroads.
So Prairie Crossroads, we purchased this building 2 years ago, and we just came up on our 2-year anniversary, and it was built in 1912. The main piece of this building is an opera house. So currently we're sitting in what is now the Mercantile. So there's been a lot of different business ventures in this space over the years. This one has actually had tenants in it and stuff. The opera house is the piece that has been vacant for 40 years, but
let's talk history. Give people a snapshot real quick of this is 1912 construction. Correct. 2-story, great big brick building, about 10,000 square feet total, right?
Yes, and 5 different spaces. So there's the opera house, and then there's an apartment, and
what was the Masonic Lodge, soon to become the Land Your Ground Studio.
Yep. So. Which everybody here is excited about not moving equipment on a regular basis.
Jordan is quietly crowing in the background. He's as excited as anybody, so we don't have to continue to do all the setup and
having
hustle.
all of the background noise. Today you'll hear, it's a busy intersection here, so you'll, I'm sure, hear a lot of background noise and potential.
Okay, so where are we located?
So we are in Viola, Illinois, on the crossroads of Highway, in Mercer County, on the crossroads of Highway 17 and 67. So
right at the 4-way stop.
Yep.
Background history for us when we purchased this. Why did we purchase this? Let's start there. Right?
Well, so we initially came to look at this actual space because 3 years ago I had this vision of putting
and we've been
store Mercantile.
We've been driving through this intersection for years past this building, and at that point it was completely empty.
Yeah, so 2021 it was totally empty, and then there was a for rent sign. I'm like, I think we need to put a store in there, and so we came and we talked to the owner, and the previous owner, this was his great grandfather. Mm-hmm. He built it. Yeah. John Gilbert, and so he built it, and many other buildings in Viola,
which are pretty much all gone now.
Yeah. So a lot of those weren't restored. So thankfully we were able to. So 2021 we looked at this building, and so we're talking about what we'd like to do in this space, and then the owner Bob says, I think you should see the whole building.
Yeah, you want to see the whole building?
Yeah,
and you were like, what else you got?
We had no idea. Like from the road, there's kind of an opera house sign, but really most people even in town don't know. And so Viola is one of the closest towns to us. And so like Chase said, we're here on a regular basis. And so he showed us the whole building and then told us we should buy it. And we were in the middle of a lot. We were renovating the house and doing some stuff at the same time. And
we still thought about it.
We still thought about it. And then I was like, actually we should we're not even living in our house. We're living in the office. Breaks. Yeah, we should probably slow down. But, and then we just talked about it all year. And then in 2021, we're like, okay, now's the time. And we're still, that vision is still there. And so, we've been doing a lot of repairs, exterior repairs, just getting the building up to
a lot of tuck pointing work.
Yep.
I mean, it was sound. It looked pretty good from the outside. It needed some cosmetic stuff. We did a little bit of paint and all that sort of stuff right off the bat, just to kind of dress it up.
Yeah.
Fixed a little bit of the facade and stuff that had some dry rot.
And really it was so exciting because I mean, just that little bit of like the exterior, some of it was brown, like a lot of everything was brown. So we
plywood
just freshened it up, and already everybody in town was just super excited.
You'd have thought we gave it a whole makeover, like the whole building was redone. The way people responded to that, didn't they?
Yeah, which is motivating. Like through this whole process, the community has just been so supportive. And
I've heard people say that, like when you get ready to renovate a big house or you take on a big home reno project, one of the first things you can do is replace the front door, which to me seems totally backwards because you're going to ding it up every time you come in and out of it, right? But they say if you put on a brand new front door on it, it motivates you. You get so excited just walking up to the front entrance that it keeps your energy up and your excitement about the whole project. So
yeah. So it has a really neat, pretty ornate cornice around the top. So we had that restored and painted, which I mean, again, made a huge difference just at the look of the building.
It was such a cool piece of historical architecture. Like that, otherwise it's just a big square brick rectangle, right? I mean, that's kind of the dressing on it.
Right.
Yeah. We knew day one, we're like, can't wait till we do that, because we knew how much that would change everybody, the look as you drive up. So back to your idea, like you had told Bob, hey, I got this idea about a store in this space. And he kind of just lit up about it a little bit. And because he was a big community guy, very oriented on wanting to see things come to this town that was just really positive for the community, economically and for the people. So he got it, like your vision resonated. And what is the vision? What do we do in here?
So this space is bringing in basically field to table a little bit, and that'll slowly come in even more. I'm sure as we open next week. Would I love to have all of it done and everything in here and everything perfect? Yes, but also that comes with time too.
Yeah.
So local producers seeing what we're doing, and it's fun. Like we're at the peak produce season right now. So
Right.
we are working with a local producer for like sweet corn and melons and tomatoes and all kinds of that stuff. That we know that's close by. So they've right now, because the store's not open, but it's still peak produce season and it's ready. Like our kids are literally sitting outside selling produce today.
Right out the window.
Right.
They got the pop-up farm stand.
Which has been great for them. And really seeing our kids working with the local, like there's all the community members coming in and talking to them and telling them stories and just seeing the kids light up even.
Right. And everybody that walks up is asking, so what are you guys doing here? And then the kids get to tell them their version of it. I wish we could hear what I'm
Yeah, if
telling
we could
people.
set up, we might not want to hear exactly what they're telling them,
Hopefully
but
it's what we would have told them. But
yeah.
I think it's cool, though. The kids are telling them in their words and kind of answering that question for them. And hearing people get excited about it, I think, shows our kids that like our parents are doing something cool, like we're part of something big. And that's
and not just, I mean, really, yeah, it's enjoyable, I guess, for us, but that's long term. Like that's not what it's about. It's for our kids. It's for the next generation, and creating, even with the local producers we're working with, like they have a next generation, like whether they're beef producers, whether they're like the produce producers, the local produce producer that we're getting stuff from right now, like he is a grandpa and we've known his daughter-in-law for years, and their grandkids. So like the grandkids are out picking produce every day with them and working with their grandpa and their parents, and
small family farm operation growing a niche product, and 3 generations involved in the growing and picking of it until we bring it right up here and sell it the same day to local people.
Literally, I mean, Chase went and picked up a load yesterday and unloaded it straight out front, and we were selling it. So it was picked yesterday morning and we're selling it today.
And 6 hours later, people are cracking open those melons and eating them up for dinner.
So instead of something coming in on a truck from another country, like these are local. These are.
So back up for a minute and let's talk on the Mercantile, Prairie Crossroads Mercantile. When you first kind of started to tell me, I got this vision, I got this idea for a store. I was like, oh boy, I can't wait to hear this. What kind of store are we talking about? I didn't know if it was going to be like farm store, Western store, like livestock supplies. I mean, if you've ever met Jackie, there's, if it wasn't going to be like fashion shoes, it's like I had a decent idea, but I didn't really know. And so like when you said it's going to be like kind of like an old time general store, but with like local produce and a lot of like handmade or family farm operation type of products. And so I'm thinking like, is this like the Olson's Mercantile and Little House in the Prairie? And you're like, no, not that old.
I mean, a little bit, but not quite. Yeah.
So what are some of the stuff? About half grocery and about half
like gift items. We have a little bit of clothing. We'll have like Prairie Crossroads merchandise at some point, and we're trying to keep stuff as local as we can, and some of it we're wholesaling out for now until we fill in those gaps a little bit, just but a lot of the products are things that we've found over the years, and I say local, like some things
as local as we can get it.
Yeah, so some things like Wisconsin or Iowa, like we're pretty close. I mean, we're within a couple of hours of both of those. So some of it isn't necessarily like maple syrup. It's a company that we've been using their product for years.
Real maple syrup. If you people are eating corn syrup, maple syrup, and you're calling it maple syrup, shame on you.
You really need to try good maple syrup. You'll never go back.
Real deal. You won't go back. Yes, it's more expensive. It's way better for you, and it's a whole lot better product.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's how you kind of shop, though. You've always kind of bought those things that not necessarily organic or whatever, but just like minimized our family's intake of like preservatives and food dyes and things that were shipped from overseas to get here to, so you're very conscious of that. And that's how you found a lot of these products and things that, And you're like, that is not how everybody grocery shops, but
Right.
if that's what people are looking for, that's the store. This is the place they get it, right?
Yeah. And we're open. Like that's one of our hardest parts going into this is like, I know what I like, but what are other people locally going to like and what's going to fit the community? So that'll change as we grow and but trying to bring in as local as we can, trying to support those local farmers and community members that are producing something that kind of fits the niche that we're in.
So we'll have local beef, we'll have farm fresh eggs that might actually be from our farm.
They are, yep.
So
our kids have been for the last 3 or 4 years we've been producing eggs, but they've taken that on as a 4-H project. They've scaled up and it's been fun, but
Their
really
mom
like
told them, I'm opening a store, and they're like, can we sell our eggs in there? And she's like, sure. And next thing you know, our chicken math went exponential.
the chicken math is gone a little crazy this year, which is great, but both boys showed in 4-H this year and have really are working together with that project. And so we're all in support of what them trying out different entrepreneurial.
Well, absolutely.
type of
And that's
ideas.
another big part of
So-
what this is, right? So our family, both of our families have been really supportive of this, but of course they, out of love and support, they ask questions up front, kind of like, what are you doing? Do you really, have you thought this through, kind of thing? And I, and they both have pitched in. Your folks, my folks, and all of our, friends and stuff have really come together and just like overwhelmed us with love. But back to my statement, there was some initial questions, just kind of like, you sure you guys know what you're getting into with this and whatever? And the question comes up, then inevitably it's like, well, you're selling real estate and you're doing this podcast, and she's homeschooling, and she's, why do you add one more thing like this to your plate? And like, we have a strong entrepreneurial spirit. That's one thing that we really try to take advantage of through the homeschooling, is to expose our kids to that and give them an experience that they would not get at public school, because there's other things that they would get at public school that they're probably lacking.
Right.
So we try to focus on, well, what can we do better? What can we do that makes it worth it for them, for
Right.
their
Because
maturity.
we've moved out, not to go too deep into the homeschool stuff, but we started when the boys were little in homeschooling. We had a giant co-op, like homeschool co-op that we were a part of. And now, as kids get older, like that has, kind of dissolved a little bit, and mainly
COVID
because
helped.
COVID kind of pushed that a little bit, but also some of the kids are going to public school now, and some of the kids, because they're doing sports and just a lot of different stuff. As the
Right.
kids get older, it's harder to get everybody together, and harder to get find people that really want to run a co-op. But our kids are now 15 and 12, and so they want to get out and they want to work. They want to get experiences.
They want to learn how to make money. They want to, and also build people skills, because everybody knows that like homeschooling, socialization is always the topic that people harp on, right? And they're all worried that your kid isn't going to have any social skills or know how to talk to other people or conduct themselves in business, or they might have strong work ethic, but are they going to be a really awkward employee for some company someday? So putting them in an environment where they've been dealing with nothing but people for a couple weeks now, sitting out front, and everybody that walks up, and they learn how to greet people and be friendly and answer questions and a little bit of salesmanship or whatever, but just to be a positive representative of the business. And to me, that's worth it. That right there is worth all of it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I started working in a pharmacy when I was 15 years old. And so, and a small, like kind of similar situation, like very small pharmacy that was privately owned. And, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And so I want my kids to kind of gain that, but also gain seeing the community, like working together and be excited about it. we're in a small town that really doesn't have a lot of commerce, and there's a really great coffee shop that opened up, I think, in 2019. Yeah. And
Which
we
love.
frequent it often. But kind of seeing somebody like take that step to like, our community needs this, and let's like, the owner has been great about.
They're awesome. And it's super busy.
Right.
All the time. And that also encouraged us, because it was like, okay, they took in one of the two only remaining historic buildings here on the Strip, and they made it beautiful. Took it from kind of being a blemish on, the road frontage in the middle of this town to just being kind of a point of pride. And everybody that drives through is like, wow, look at that cool little building. And put this really neat coffee shop in there. It's a great product. And the local support, like everybody jumped behind it because how exciting that is, how cool it is. They want that to succeed. And that's kind of small town vibe, but it's also in general, I think, kind of rural people.
Right.
In a bigger city or a bigger town, people don't care as much if your business lives or dies.
Right.
They'll just wait for the next one to open up, or they'll go half a block down, or another, they'll pass by it and go shop somewhere else. There's so many options that they don't really value each of these entrepreneur ventures or small mom and pop stores and things like that. Here, they do.
I would say it's the older crowd that really takes pride and is excited. I mean, the younger people are excited too, I think, but seeing the older group of people from our community come and part of it is they remember the Opera House. Like the stories that we've heard from the Opera House, it's
they keep getting better.
They do. Yesterday, there was a lady here that said, at one point there was a really small group and Willie Nelson was here, and just hearing those stories, like REO Speedwagon.
I was like, whoa, stop. You got to repeat that for my wife to hear you.
Right.
So
I have some things to check out now.
Right?
I'm like, wait, I had REO Speedwagon. Everybody's like, a lot of people have told me some other bands, and we've found some posters and different things. But I'm like, now I have to know about this Willie Nelson thing. But
it's because it's a cool piece of our local cultural history.
Right.
Our parents' age and beyond, especially, like, this place was booming in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s even.
Yeah. I mean, stories from, like, my grandma is 98. And so, like, there aren't a whole lot of people older than her with stories. So that would have been in the 40s. She came here for a dance, a dance. And it was really fun. We got to have her come last week to come and visit and go in the Opera House. Like, it's finally cleaned out enough that we could have her go in, and it was just something special. And being able to hear those memories like, she's told me stories before, but hear those memories sitting.
She made a beeline when she went through the door to the spot where she spent all evening standing there and talking to people, and she just wanted to go right there and stand and reminisce.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the connection between retail store and the farms, the local landowners who are producing some of this, not just produce, not just the melons but honey, popcorn. I mean, you have kind of I don't want to say a menagerie, but it's not a full grocery store.
No.
It's a lot of really...
It's specialty.
Yes.
I mean, so it's not... I mean, there's a Dollar General down the store. Like, if you're looking for just canned goods and Orville, Redenbacher... That's totally wrong. Yeah, out of a box.
Yeah.
They...
but this is stuff that was grown 20 miles or less.
We have
from
popcorn from Oneida, which is 20 minutes from here probably.
Yeah, maybe not even.
A lot of different local producers that are also
honey
entrepreneurs.
Will be about the same distance.
Yeah.
So, and what is the benefit? Let's talk honey for a second. What's the benefit to having local honey?
So a lot of the benefits that people see with local honey is that because of the pollen, because of it's local, using local honey allows, like, they've seen evidence that helps with allergies. So, like, our oldest son has terrible allergies, and so trying to get that in his diet on a regular basis. We had bees at one point here a few years ago, and they were doing really well.
Yep.
That's something I'd love to get back into at some point, but bees are funny story. So we were in one of our homeschool curriculums. It was talking about bees and how easy they were to keep. And I was like, I need to write the editor on this because you need to actually raise bees because they're not, they do what they want. They're not, it's not like cattle or cows. Like we
Bees
can't
do
keep
what
them
bees
in.
do.
If they decide to leave, they leave.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot goes into that, but they do take time. Like people that raise, bees and produce honey, they put a lot of work and time into that.
For sure.
And
so the benefits of raw honey are that it's made by bees from local flowers, local trees, shrubs, all of these local flora.
Yeah.
And just by using that, ingesting that, you become less susceptible or less sensitive to pollen and allergies and things like that are from those same plants in that regional area, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I mean, I didn't know anything about that until you started telling me why we're using raw honey instead of don't just buy the stuff at the supermarket. But there's a lot of cool benefits to using local products. We're still networking even as we're selling sweet corn out here. We have people coming up like, do you guys have pork? Do you have, are you going to carry this or whatever? And they're telling us about their operation, telling us about, what their homestead is or we've received a lot of messages just in the last 2 weeks since we started posting a lot more things to Instagram and social media for Prairie Crossroads. And people keep reaching out with what they're growing. Like, hey, I grow berries. Hey, do you have somebody for blackberries or strawberries? Or, hey,
and that's our goal. Like I'll apologize up front to anybody that's like messaged us in the last week that I'm trying to message back and say, I'll get back to you soon. Like it's been a lot in the last week just trying to get things moving. And we're going to be setting up times to meet with people here in the next week or so, hopefully. But definitely hearing from those people and being able to bring in those products and make sure it's a good fit. That's one thing. It's like, we've always been on the end of running a business, but then being on the end of like, picking product and purchasing the product. Like I've run stores before, but I haven't.
Yeah, and these aren't just like most of them big websites that you can just go on and just place your order. Like when you're dealing with small, kind of very hands-on owner operated businesses, those people are almost as busy as we are in a lot of cases or more. And so you're trying to, communicate directly with the person who's actually growing or producing or making the thing, and they're the ones taking the order, and it's trickier, it's logistically.
They don't have a wholesale distributor that's their full-time job.
Right. And they don't have a big staff or a big team to just handle all of that with you. So, but that's also what makes it so personal and kind of cool.
Yeah.
That you're getting to learn a lot more about the product because you're actually talking with the person who made it.
Right.
And
like today I'm going to pick up an order and like I'm going to site where it's produced, and that's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Load it in your vehicle and bring it directly here to the store.
Yeah.
No warehouse, no shipping,
last
trucking
week we
across
didn't
country.
have it was a crazy week and everything was off schedule, and I had to drive down with my Jeep and go pick up produce in the back. So like
we'll come up with a better plan for that long term.
Loading up my Jeep with watermelon and cantaloupe, and it all fit. But had we been in a car accident, it would have been a funny sight. So
watermelons all over the windshield.
But that's what's exciting. Like yes, those things are like on the fly and look messy sometimes, but also that's what makes the stories and that's what makes it real. Like, when things arrive, some of it's arrived like UPS or whatever, and it's not as personal. So,
yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about real estate stuff again. So you told the story. We bought this building 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. What have we done with it since then? What's the future hold? Do you want to talk more about Prairie Crossroads?
So Prairie Crossroads as a whole is the entire entity, and then the store is Prairie Crossroads Mercantile. And so we talked about the products that we're going to have in here, different food goods. And we, here within the next month, as soon as everything's in and counters are in and everything, we'll have ice cream in this space.
Hand scooped ice cream.
And that's literally a moving project, a moving piece, because we'll have hand scooped ice cream in here for the fall and winter. And then there's a south space that Chase's office is currently in. Mm-hmm. So like I said, there were five parts to this space. So Chase is in one of them. It's a smaller space, and he's going to move upstairs as soon as that's done. And in the spring, we're going to be opening Prairie Cones, which is our ice cream shop.
Whoop, whoop.
And
might be more excited about that than anything.
Yeah. Chase is just excited about eating ice cream. So
I do love some ice cream, Jordan. Yes.
Yep. Everybody's on board. Like everybody in town's like, when is the ice cream coming?
I heard ice cream.
Yeah.
You heard right. It's coming.
It's just, that's definitely a slower piece. There's a lot more involved in that. But part of that, why that's moved a little slower, is just we'll be replacing all the windows and doors. So a lot of the windows and doors are original or replaced with
cheap vinyl
windows that are starting. I mean, it's funny because I'm sure in the owners, like their eyes, it's like, oh, those were just put in. It's like, it's funny how 20 years goes by really fast,
30.
and nothing's built like it used to be. So,
and they weren't commercial.
Right.
I mean, they're what our architect would call Menards grade or Lowe's type of window.
So
or
we're going to be
product.
upgrading them to commercial windows, supporting another local business, and getting those put in. And so
new
the
roof
will be
coming.
replaced.
Trying to make sure it's going to last for the next couple generations.
Yeah.
Basically, right? Yeah. So then the office, the land your ground studio and land sales office will be directly above the Mercantile on the second floor. Then there's another space that's was a 1-bedroom apartment, probably used to be living quarters or some sort of a.
At some point, like from what we've read in documents and heard from people, there was a doctor's office up there. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, like the stories you hear of different things and trying to like corroborate that and see if that's totally true. But
so once this part of the building is renovated and we have those business operating in it, and the 1-bedroom apartment gets renovated for what its future purpose will be, then the renovation starts on the Opera House, and that's
that's the biggest undertaking. I mean, it sat without any heating or cooling for 40 years, and the windows are in disrepair. And,
a couple windows were gone.
Yeah, we walked in one day, and I'm like, oh, it's so breezy and light in here, and then
it feels so nice in here. It's
and
like,
Chase
feels
was like, there's
outdoors.
no windows. Yeah.
With shade.
Yeah.
Imagine we're under a picnic
So somehow
shelter.
there were no critters or anything in there. The fact that there's not more damage than what there was.
It's remarkably intact, although it's pretty rough. It needs a lot.
It needs a lot. And so it's going to be a couple years. But then being able to bring
entertainment
and
live music, theater, plays and shows, movies, dinner date nights.
Yeah, different events to the community.
Which is awesome. Like small businesses supporting other small businesses, which is what makes, a small town so cool.
Right.
So it's when you're the only retail store in town, all the other businesses kind of want to support you. When you're the only coffee shop in town, everybody wants to support you. If you're the only barbecue shop in town or whatever, it's like you as an entrepreneur, when you're trying to think of like, okay, what business is going to work here, and then how is my business going to complement those other businesses so that I benefit from their customers and they benefit from my customers.
Because you need to work together.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says like, oh, we need more in our community or we need more for our kids. But then when you don't actually go to those places, and it's easier or it's cheaper to go to town, like 30 minutes away to buy some of the things. Like, we get it. Groceries are expensive. Mm-hmm. Not everything you can get locally and not always afford. So trying to balance that, like, yes, there's particular things that we could carry in store that would be higher price probably. But we're trying to really balance that so that it does benefit community members and still be a viable business.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and we produce a little bit of what will be sold in here. And as time goes on, hopefully other products that we and our kids are showing interest in growing, raising, producing there's longer term plans kind of behind things.
right. We have big giant goals. So,
And this question has come up a few times. Why Prairie? Why Prairie Crossroads? Do you want to take a swing at that answer, or do you want my version of it?
Chase will have a much better version because he's.
Well, I guess in short, my answer to that question is that like we love old things,
Right.
which is why we bought,
Absolutely.
a 1912 opera house, whatever. But we love old barns. We love history. We just love old barnwood and reclaimed materials and all like those things about history and local farmsteads excite us. But where we're sitting, all of this area was, before it ever was farmsteads, it was prairie.
Right.
And so we love the natural flora, we love wildlife, we love the wildflowers, and we just
Like if we could bring back the bison and the prairie chicken.
bring back the prairie chickens.
Right.
If you've listened to the last 19 or so episodes, that's maybe come up at least a couple of times by now. So if the prairie chicken were just a little bit sexier of a emblem, it'd probably be on the logo of our business instead of bison. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty big on them. But so Prairie Crossroads, so this whole area was prairie.
Yeah.
And I think it just ties the location geographically to its historical roots. And it's something that we just want to be a big proponent of,
Right.
native plants and native fauna. And so like creating branding that is embellished by that, it's beautiful, it's natural, which is also, a lot of the products and stuff that we're selling in here are all natural and they're raised on the land. And so that's a little bit of a tie that way too. And then the other businesses that are coming are all kind of carry the same brand, carry that same theme.
Bringing back just the historic part of that, but I guess bringing it back to the forefront, helping people like think through the fact that, people come out to our farm and we kind of live in the middle of a prairie grass patch and they're like, wow, look at the grasses. It's like, it all used to look like this.
Yeah.
Like we're well aware that we need like the crops, the corn and the soybeans.
We're not anti-ag, not anti-farming.
The majority of what we're surrounded by is ag, but
we've lost most of our natural prairie to that. So it's kind of like, where can we fill that in? Yeah.
Where can we keep that? Keep that and help support it in those areas that we can and help, I guess, teach people about it.
Well, and that's another big part of what you're excited about doing, right? With the store is just teaching people where their food comes from, giving consumers a direct connection to the hands that raised it, hearing about, and we're going to be showcasing and kind of promoting and telling the story of the farmers, the ranchers, the apiary, the people who are working land, working with the animals, growing these products or making the things, letting their kind of story be showcased through what you're doing. But then you also have plans to maybe put on classes and you're a bit of a book hoarder. I don't know if people know that about you or not. Like,
I am a minimalist of all things except books. I'm a book hoarder. But past was I was an ag teacher, and so I want to bring that back to the community. I want to bring classes back so that people understand, and not just me teaching, but a variety of community
bringing
members.
in experts or speakers, people who can put on a course or a couple hour in one evening, come in and learn how to do something or learn how to cook something or, learn how something is made and created on the farm or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, the store is just a starting off point. We have a lot bigger vision and goals, and hopefully that everybody will see that develop and things will go well with the store as it does. And it's that it was funny. Somebody posted on Facebook on somebody had we had shared like the opening day and different things, and there was a comment about like, hope it works out for you. And it was like, oh,
Me
all
too.
right, me too. Like, and
Appreciate
I know,
the support.
like, I'm sure it was said with love, and like, it's just funny how some of those things are taken, and you mentally are like, I know that person meant it well.
Right. And they maybe didn't mean for it to sound like it was ridden with doubt.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's fine. I have I question it too, but here we are. We're going full force with it. And
Yeah. Both
but yeah,
feet.
both feet in, and we're just excited about it, and we hope everybody else is too. So.
Yep, no doubt. And I think they are from everybody that's talked to us or seen it and or caught glimpses of what we're up to so far has been like,
Hopefully we can live up to expectations.
well, if we don't,
If we don't, we'll have a lot of product to eat over the next.
we'll have a 2 or 3 year supply of maple syrup to work through. So, all right. Anything else maybe that we want to talk about or that you want to share with the audience about real estate investing or just entrepreneurship in general? What's the take-home message that you want people to be encouraged by or
I think
remember?
the main thing is, be smart about your real estate investing. Like, don't go out and make big giant things, but also
Don't buy antique opera houses.
Maybe not, but also don't be afraid to take, when I say risks, like, don't take giant financial risks, but don't be afraid to take risks just because it seems like a daunting task. Because you'll have community support behind it, and
A little bit of courage goes a long way.
yeah, but it can be life changing. So, and like, this project is not really about us. Like, it's not. It may not be, it's probably not going to be like some big financial windfall. But
we're not just going to be crazy wealthy a year from now.
No, I doubt it. But it's about community, and it's about building things for the next generation, and bringing that back, bringing something that we've lost, whether it's the physical buildings or the camaraderie of local communities. So
it's fair to say Jill Winger is a person that has given you a lot of inspiration through
from the Prairie Homestead.
She did a lot of similar things just in the last few years, and you kind of got to watch that progress and whatever.
Yeah, and I took some classes, like starting in it was funny because I was like, I'm going to start a blog. And Chase said I needed to come up with a name, and I'm like, oh, the Prairie Homestead. And then I Googled it, and then I found like it already existed.
Somebody already took my idea.
Yeah, which was, I'm like, but then I was like, actually, I don't want to start a blog, but this person is great. And she was kind of like, it initially was just me learning stuff about like cooking and these things and that things, but it also, in that time, during 2020, when like there was a lot of disconnect, it was like, okay, I feel like I'm filling in like some, I don't know, some gaps of like being around people and things like that. And so
you got plugged into an online community.
Yeah, there were people like,
homesteaders, entrepreneurs.
Not everybody is the same. Especially that, like, homesteading didn't used to be cool. So like growing up, I was like, I don't really fit in. So finding a group that I kind of felt like I fit in with, and building on that, and then seeing other people taking those risks. And it was like, oh, I might actually be able to do this. This isn't necessarily a crazy idea. And having people around you that are supportive, whether they're local or on like online groups or whatever it is that fit into your niche, and surround, like, having your circle of people being optimistic and pushing you to do hard things.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think that's a good message or good note just to wrap up on, don't you?
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Until next time, guys, we thank you. Appreciate you. Want to thank all of our friends and our family, the people who are still here grinding, scrubbing,
like,
painting. Right now, as we're recording this, there are people working in our behest. And that's, it was just a kind of an unexpected, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
I
at
thought
it.
we would have to do so much more of this all by ourselves, and that just hasn't
Because I
been.
won't ask, but you have people that are like, no,
Show
I'm
up.
here and I'm doing this, and that part's amazing. So.
Yeah, we will catch up with you on the next episode. We're going to be talking more about bringing local products to the marketplace. And if you're interested in that sort of stuff, tune in to the next episode. Land Your Ground.